Hi, this is Leanne Ray, and now we're going to go over how to push our drawing further using contour. So we have our under drawing that we've made. Before we start contouring, we need to push this back because we don't want our under drawing to be the star of the show. We want our contour to be the star of the show. So I'm going to take a moment to just push back my drawing. This is worth your time. This is the step that students skip, and I don't understand why. So make sure you spend however long you need to pushing your drawing back. And that doesn't mean just wiping your hand through it. It means physically picking up your eraser and kind of using your eraser like a brush to push your drawing back and bring it to that like whisper level. You want it to be quiet. You don't want anything to interfere with your contour. So this is worth your time. And then once I get everything a little quieter, I like to kind of just brush my hand over, get any pieces of eraser off, kind of push back anything else that's remaining. And that's where we kind of want our drawing. So it's still somewhat visible, but it's not screaming at you on your paper. Before we contour, we want to pick out our sharpest pencil. Ideally, you have a whole arsenal of sharpened pencils ready to go. Mine are all out of whack, right? But tons of sharpened pencils. If you're starting a contour drawing with one sharpened pencil, you're setting yourself up for failure. I like to have at least 10 to 15. So if something goes wrong, I have a ton ready to go. It's a good idea in your first couple contour drawings to put your line weight scale on your paper. So your line weight scale consists of screaming lines, talking lines, and whisper lines. Screaming lines should be reserved for your darkest shadows. Talking lines should be reserved for your midtones, and whisper lines should be reserved for your highlights. So it could be a good idea before you start your drawing to just observe your still life and kind of assess where your screaming lines go, where your talking lines go, and where your whisper lines go. I like to, at the beginning of my drawing, keep all of my lines at that talking and whisper stage. And then I like to do a second, sometimes a third passive contour where I bring out those screaming lines. You want to keep your drawing light and easy to erase because you will make mistakes, right? So accept that fact and accept that you will need to erase parts of your drawing as you go. It's not going to be perfect the first time, okay? Just like in our underdrawing, I like to kind of start somewhere that feels a little uncomfortable. So I'm going to start in that nasal cavity again. And before I start contouring, I want to hold my pencil like it's a dart that I'm going to throw across the room. I like to kind of make my pinky kind of be a support on the paper so that way my hand isn't rubbing against my paper. So I'm going to start right at the tip of that nose bridge. You can start anywhere you want. There's not one specific place you have to start. And I'm going to pay close attention to how much pressure I'm putting down on my paper and how dark my line is. We're using semi-blind contour, and semi-blind contour, all that means is anytime you look back at your easel, you stop drawing. Anytime you look at the still life, you keep drawing. So you should only be looking back to say, is my pencil in the right spot? If the answer is no, pick it up and move it. If the answer is yes, keep going. So you should kind of ideally be looking back and forth constantly. And just like when we were stinging points, you want to be open to allowing your drawing to change. So if something's in the wrong spot, if something's too big, if something's too small, you should change it, right? So I'm noticing that I've kind of placed this eye socket in the wrong spot. It's maybe a little too wide. So I'm gonna let my drawing change as I go. And most importantly, I'm not picking up my pencil. So I'm keeping my pencil on the page for as long as possible. Your arm's gonna get really tired, but you wanna keep that pencil on the page. And you're trying to make your eyes and your hands move in sync. Trying to kind of treat your eyes like a computer and your hand like the printer, right? So you're trying to print out what you're seeing. I also like to think of it like I'm an ant crawling across the form. So I'm pretending that my eye is a little ant crawling across this skull, and anywhere my little ant legs are going, that is where my pencil is going. Again, really trying to take note of how much pressure I'm putting on my paper. If you're starting your contour drawing and no matter what you're doing, your lines are coming out really dark, it might be because you're using the wrong type of pencil for you, right? So I'm the type of person that really likes using 6B, 4B, 2B charcoal pencils. But if you're someone that's incredibly heavy-handed, you might like HB more. So your kit comes with different types of pencils, and that's very purposeful, so you can test them out and see which one works for you. So in these first couple weeks, or if you haven't done it yet, test out the pencils, see which one works for you. You're gonna have a preference, everyone does. We wanna look back and forth a bunch, because if you keep looking at your easel kind of like doing this, right? I call that a middle school dance. So we've got to separate you from your easel because you really start making up information. You start cartooning, and we're trying to hold ourselves accountable and draw exactly what we see, right? So haven't lifted my pencil yet, still keeping it on the paper, still keeping my lines at that talking whisper stage. I'm also being mindful of how sharp my pencil is. So I can kind of feel right now it's getting a little dull. So the moment my line quality kind of dips, I'm going to switch to a sharper pencil. That's why it's important that we have that whole arsenal of pencils ready to go. I'm letting my drawing change. If it feels like it should be a little less wide than what I have right now, I'm going to let it be a little less wide. Why not? Right now, I'm drawing very slowly and precise in comparison to that underdrawing. So I'm going to trust that more than I would trust that quick underdrawing. I'm getting close to finishing up that first pass. I still want to get a little bit more information. Okay, and that'd be a pretty good first pass. I'm going to switch to a sharper pencil. Right now, all my lines are kind of at that talking, mostly talking, a little bit of whisper stage. I need to bring forth more contrast in my drawing. So in my second pass, I'm going to go over the areas that have deep shadows, and I'm going to bring forth that screaming line and bring forth some contrast. So anywhere where there's a shadow, that darker line's going to come through. If I had a mistake that I wanted to correct, I would fix it in the second pass. And another thing I'm going to look for is my major edge, which again is the edge that is closest to me. And I want to make that a little darker in my paper. So I'm going to follow that major edge of that skull. And I'm just going to use that to show the difference between the front of the skull and the back of the skull. It's going to help also give my drawing some dimension. Missed a little bit of information. I'm going to pull that forward. I want to get the shadow that's on the underneath of that skull. Right? And I could continue to kind of fuss with this drawing for a while, but right now it's kind of got the main things that we're looking for, right? So most important thing as you're contouring is that you've got some really great sharpened pencils. You're very hyper aware of your line quality and line weight, and that you're keeping your pencil on the paper. Anytime you look back here, you stop drawing. Anytime you look at your still life, you're drawing, right? Thank you. I hope you enjoyed our video on contour.